Got lots of good folks popping on. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Welcome,
We heard you
welcome.
say here. We heard you say here they come.
Well, that's great.
The Galloping Horde.
Make sure I got everybody. Oh, there's another one.
There we go. Hello.
Hello.
Am I the only one on here?
Hi. Yep. No, Linda, we got lots of folks. We'll call you Linda Dave.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's what happened when I get to try out for Wheel of Fortune, and I did it on his computer, and they wouldn't find me because they were looking for Linda, and
Okay,
I
Linda,
didn't get
that
to.
is so fun. You got to try out for Wheel of Fortune.
I
Oh,
did. I had a 5 minute Zoom call, but I couldn't get it to work, and I was using his computer, and his name came up, and they didn't recognize me, and so it was like 45 minutes late, and then I was so flustered, I blew it.
oh.
Too bad too, because I was good. I'm good.
Love it. Okay, well, I'm seeing wonderful faces joining us. I do want to first just say today, since this is a part two of one of our um, previous, I think it was in March that we did the part one of Audacity best practices. And
Mhm.
so, since we were kind of short on time, I am going to not necessarily do all of the introductory pieces that we normally do. I love to get to hear from everybody, but I do want to give us an opportunity to jump right in. So, instead of going around round robin and introducing ourselves, the best thing to do is just to jump right in. Um, so first off, I do know that we have, I want to say, recognize the staff that we have with us here today, which is Nick Carswell, of course, our program manager. And then we also have Feli is also with us too, and she's our director. And I know Feli wanted to say hello, so I'll let you say hello first, Feli, because uh, we appreciate you jumping on to say hello.
Thank you, Trish. I know you guys have a busy meeting ahead of you, so I just wanted to say hi. If I haven't had the opportunity to meet you, thank you so much for everything you do for Audio Reader. We are powered by volunteers, and we really appreciate everything you do for us. So thank you. And thank you, Trish, for giving me the opportunity to say something real quick.
Oh, we are so grateful to have you with us, and everyone give a wave to Feli.
Woohoo!
Love it. I'm crowd participation is a good thing, right? Well, and the next person that I want to give a shout out to, of course, and then I'm going to pass off to, is of course Steve Grimm, who is joining us today and waved there for you. And Steve has been a volunteer for 10 years as of this year, so yay for
Yikes.
that. But this was has been his first year being retired as a volunteer. So when Steve reached out and he had done a couple of these trainings back in 2020 when we were all making the big jump, and he reached out and said, now that I have a little bit more time, I'd be more willing to be a question and answers type person. So Steve was has helped out some folks one-on-one when they're struggling with some different troubleshooting options with Audacity. And then he's also done this initial training, and then here comes part two. So Steve's background is in technical solutions. He was with I think Sprint and T-Mobile for quite a
Yep.
while. But
Long
I
time.
understand he also has done some voice work and also some video work as well as photography now, right? Is that right, Steve?
That's right. That's right.
So, with
That's right.
all that wonderful introduction there, thanks for taking the time to do this for us today. And I do hope that folks have a few questions to share. Also, part of the way we learn as audio reader community folk is through our community, sharing questions, sharing insights. So, thank you all for coming and joining us. And I see more people coming in right now as well. So, a few more people will jump on. And right here behind me is Kathy. So wave, Kathy. Yay. I appreciate Kathy is been was reading
Kathy,
down, yeah, she was reading downstairs and said that she was just gonna sign in at the studio. And I said, just come up and join me. So Kathy and I are gonna be hanging out here too. So okay, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Steve. And again, of course, if we have questions or things come up in the chat, Nick and I are here to help facilitate that as well.
Okay. Well, thanks, Trish, and thanks for allowing the opportunity to just have the open dialogue. I think I've learned so many things just listening on the virtual coffee bar, the ones that I've been able to make. Every time I've walked away with some nuggets that I've been able to apply, and that's been cool. And it's also been inspiring for me to meet so many of the other readers, whether in person, that sometimes I don't make it to Lawrence all the time. I live in Kansas City. But when I do, I really enjoy it, and I really am in awe of those who have been doing this for much longer than 10, and still have the passion and the joy of it. I think that's a testimony to Audio Reader, quite honestly. So thank you everybody for doing that. And it's my joy to share whatever I can to make this to help out in any way I can. I think if you were there back in March and you saw the first part of it, we spent a lot of time just going through the interface of Audacity. All of the buttons, all of the options, it can be overwhelming, I know. And in most of the cases, for what we do, we don't need to really get into all of that. But there are some really good nuggets, some really cool little Easter eggs that are hidden in there. They're always good to help enhance your recording. And so we did that a lot, and we really only left just a small smidgen of time at the end to really do some hands-on. So I hope to flip that script a little bit and do more hands-on here and taking whatever questions you have than just a bunch of Steve talking. So I think, if anything, if I go real quickly to the agenda, we'll do a quick review of just getting set up, getting started. If you haven't been recording very long, or if you haven't used Audacity and you're not really sure how your home studio should be set up and those kinds of things, we'll do a really quick review of that. And then we will go back to just remind everybody of the Audacity interface. We'll spend just a couple seconds reviewing a screen or two on that. But really the kick will be to just jump into the tracks and the track controls, doing deleting, trimming, editing, kind of those things. And then you see the open floor. I think that's going to be a situation where I'm just going to ask questions, right? Whatever you guys are going to ask questions, and hopefully I'll be able to respond to them. And we can just go from there. We can just make that play time. I know from our last time there was a request about adding music. I do pretty much all of my recordings. I do music. I just enjoy it. I like the production value of it. And so there was a question to go into that. So hopefully we won't lose time at the end on that one. I got some fun stuff to do on that. And I have Q&A at the end, but forget that. Q&A is anytime. Yeah, you want to raise your hand. If I'm talking, I'll try to I have a little corner view over here, but Trish, I know you'll jump in if somebody's got a question. I think it's better to just, when you got a question, let's tackle it there and then. All right. But anyway, that's that. All right. And I'm not going to go into presentation mode on the PowerPoint here, because I'm going to be bouncing back and forth all the time. So I hope everybody can see it okay, what the screen is. If it's hard to read, let me know, and I will go into presentation mode.
Can everybody see it okay? Give us a thumbs up if you got it. All right. Thank you.
Good. Okay, good. I just want to reiterate, when you're getting started in your home studio, you want to really find a good space where you can do it. You're going to be sitting there for at least an hour, perhaps more. You don't want to have any interruptions. You want to have a space where it feels close. You don't want to have vaulted ceilings and tile floor, because that creates echoes and things like that. You want to find a good space for that. Hopefully you found that. Also, what you want to do is just kind of get rid of all the other impossible noises in the room. I have a really neurotic cat that, as I talk, if I'm talking a lot, she can't stand it. She has to meow. So I have to close the door on that. And even then, sometimes you might be able to hear the meow through the door. But whatever that is, just make sure that you do what you can to manage your reading space. Even practice a little bit of times. I have Audacity on one side of my screen, and I read for the Journal World on Saturdays. So I have Journal World on the left-hand side. So I've got them both together. I got the screens exactly how I want, and I repeat that every time. So always good to do a practice round on that. And then the consistency is the big thing. When you're talking into the microphone here, don't be moving in and out a lot. because then you get loud and not loud and things. Try to remain 6 inches or so, your mouth 6 inches from the microphone. Ideal if you have one of these microphones, the best way to do it is through the side, not from the top. But whatever the microphone it is that you're using, make sure that you understand where it best catches your voice. And hopefully it's a microphone that's designed for voice. There's many microphones and you get them for cheap because podcasts are the thing, right? So people sell podcast microphones for cheap now. So, and there's a lot of good ones out there.
I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm Linda, not Dave.
Oh, okay. All right, hi, Linda.
When I plug into my iPhone and I'm talking and reading it, it overrides sometimes and cuts out. Does anybody else have that problem? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like when I read from my iPhone and it overrides here from when I read into my microphone, but it still overrides on my speaker on my phone. Nobody else has that problem?
Linda, I think that might be with telephone reader recording versus reading via Audacity.
So I'm sorry, you're right.
Different. You are right.
Yeah. And I do a telephone reader as well, Linda, and I have that same problem. Sometimes it's just the connection.
I just cover it up with a towel or something. Yeah. But okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
A quick review, when you're recording through Audacity, you want to make sure that your audio levels when you're recording are kind of in the -6 to -12 dB range. You don't want to have it too low. And what this is when you get to 0 on the meter, that means your voice is starting to distort. And you don't want that at all. And you get too much distortion, it'll just simply stop recording. So you want to back off of that. And they call this extra space in here called that headroom, just so that, a lot of times at the beginning of a sentence or something, you start with a consonant, it explodes out of your mouth. You want to have room for that to happen without clipping. Clipping is when your voice goes past the 0 mark. So somewhere in the 6 to 12, it doesn't hurt if it's down to, 18 or so. It really starts getting problem when you really get too soft and too far away. So make sure that you're consistent with that. And we'll talk I'll jump into that now let's see. How do I get rid of this? Hold on. I got this little tab, this sharing screen tab for Zoom, and it's really in my way. It usually retracts away and it's not doing that. So I'm going to have to come down here. What I would, on your audio track, what I would always recommend is here, you can do a right click there and say enable silent monitoring. And when you do that, it will tell you what your microphone settings are, right? What your levels are, and you're not recording. You can just doing it as it's talking in the room. That way, how tight, if I'm talking too much, I back up, I'm too far away. That's always a good thing to do. The other thing I would say, this is a nice little nugget that I forgot to mention the last time. There's an item here called a recording level. It's a system attachment. So a lot of times moving your voice in and out is probably the best way to do it. But sometimes your voice, the system will, you can't help it. You're getting too hot all the time. You can set this system level down a ways to keep your voice from being too hot. So just a thought there, just a cool little thing. Some systems, computer systems, it won't work. So if your slider doesn't work very well, then your system doesn't allow allow Audacity to control it that way. But that's just something to keep. If you're having trouble clipping, you might try setting your recording level lower. I have it down here about half the time anyway. Yeah, there was a question.
There's a question about the dynamic or condenser microphone, which is better.
Yeah.
And then also, which version of Audacity are you using? And I think in line with the microphone question, the way that your mic stands up straight is a little bit different than sort of some of the mics that we see like in the studios that tend to be at a different angle. Sometimes I think it's hard for folks to understand how off-axis works when there's different kinds of mics too.
Sure. This is a cardioid, and generally it's best coming at it from a side, not from the top. Now you can turn it upside down either way. It doesn't matter. It depends on how you like to hang it. But generally, your voice comes in from the side on this. Not all microphones do that. Some are the end or the tips. But if it's a good cardioid kind of microphone, it's generally designed to handle like this from the side.
Okay, and I'm going to ask Nick, are the ones we send out, what kind are they? Because I actually don't know the answer to that either.
They're cardioid, yeah.
Okay.
Condenser, yeah. They're all cardioid. Don't need to get into the difference, do we? Don't think so.
Okay.
So I would, the
talking
only
to
thing
the
is,
side
if
is
you,
okay.
yeah, if you talk from the top down, if I tilt it here a little bit and talk from the top down, it will lose intensity and, and the fullness of it, because it's designed to get sound from here, from the sides. That was one question. What was the other question?
Which Audacity version are you working from right here that's showing up?
I believe this is 3.7.5,
Okay.
which is actually, I don't know if 3. Or 4.0 is out yet. I haven't looked, in fact. But this is the one that I have. I don't know. Does that help?
That does. And it looks like Janie and Charles have joined us as well. So sorry that
Hey,
we're a little bit late on getting them in.
welcome, welcome. I've already mentioned on the microphone audio level, so on that silent monitoring, I can't speak highly enough about having that. You can disable it by right-clicking it and then re-enabling it. But if you're just sitting down in the morning and getting squared away, you want to find out, okay, where do you start talking? This is a good way to do it, rather than just start recording and then finding out later that it's too hot or not hot enough. Let's see. This was also a couple of submitted challenges, solving the gap issue. I'm going to skip that because we'll probably kind of talk about that when we do some editing. I can't remember. We didn't go through this last time, Trish. Tips for keeping time. I think somebody was saying, staying within the show's limits, right? Which is generally 56 to 58 minutes. And I said, there's nothing in Audacity that'll force you to stop and tell you that it's 58. Technically, there's no function that will say stop here. You're just going to have to keep an eye on things. And then I always find that if by now I read the Journal World enough, I have a general idea where I should be in the sections if I'm really pushing 56 to 58 minutes. And if I know that I'm running out of if I don't have enough articles, and I know I'm going to have to come back and add more that I don't read, I go ahead and read everything, and then I come back and add articles rather than add them there as I go. If I'm already running hot, then I have to make some decisions. Running hot meaning I've got more articles than I have time normally, and I want to get as many of the standard sections in, the sports, the opinion, stuff like that. I might have to edit the article a little bit in advance just to make sure that I meet those times. So technically, there is one thing on Audio Reader that you can do. Let's see, what is it? Let's see. Now I can't remember where it is. It's a label. No, it's generally label. Here. I can do a label and create a label here. So if you really want to have something, I can say, stop. I can set this at, drag this over to 58 minutes, right? And say that stop there as a reminder. I don't know if that helps you or not. It doesn't have any recording or anything like that. It's just something visually that you can tell you to stop or something. You can always do this if you know you got 20 minutes to do news and then 10 minutes to do obituaries or something like that. Maybe you broke out little sections like here to give you an idea of how long if you're running, long or short. These little labels might also be helpful to you, but that's the only thing I can think of for that challenge. Audacity will keep recording as long as you have the recording on. Well past 58. All right. Any questions with that? Okay. The anatomy of Audacity. Like I said, we spent the part one entirely over this top toolbar. Mainly, actually, spent it mostly through the menu. And we didn't hardly spend any time in the toolbar. And I'm sad to say that we probably won't spend any time on the toolbar today either. So if you have questions about the toolbar, please let me know. I'm looking over here because I see you guys over here. So I know the camera's here. So if I'm sorry, it's probably unsettling that I'm not looking directly at you. But so I'm looking at the picture of you guys over here. But there are other sections here that I do want to share. I do want to zoom in here a little bit, just to make sure that we're in sync with the wording here. So on the main canvas area for Audacity, this is where your tracks are, and a track is simply a channel in which you can do some clippings and recordings. Audacity will support up to 16 tracks, which means I can record multiple voice tracks, multiple music tracks, or whatever other soundtracks together. In this case, in this example, there's an audio one, which is really more of a voice track. So this is somebody speaking, and down here was an audio piece, or actually music piece here. And so each of these tracks has a control bar on its far left that will allow you to adjust the volume of the whole track, plus or minus. If it's stereo, which you'll know this is a stereo because it has, you see this thin line here, this horizontal line here in the middle, and then you have these two waveforms that are identical, one on top of the other. Each one is a different channel. So you have a right channel and a left channel. That tells you this is a stereo track. Down here, you don't have it. You don't have that line in between it. This is a mono track. So on a stereo track, you can move this to be a right channel or left channel, etc. A mute will just simply mute the audio here. And solo will says, if I click solo here, it mutes any other channels except for the one that you're doing. You want to solo that channel, and you might want to do that if you want to shut everything else out and you're just working on the one track. And then real-time effects boy, that would be a fun exercise for an advanced audio reader if anybody wants to do that. We generally don't have a need for this for what we're doing to do audio effects. There's occasional needs if you're having problems with your microphone and you have extra hissing that you can't get rid of and that you need something to enhance that, then a real-time effect to get rid of that hissing would be. But generally, if your microphone's good, you don't need this stuff for what we're doing. So, and we, as you says, we won't be covering that. Any questions yet? Okay.
Looks like
Trish,
we're doing
put them
good.
to sleep, or they're just waiting for me to get to the good stuff, I guess. All right. Within this, and this I kind of was talking about that already here. Let me see if I missed that. I can rename the track here through the three ellipticals. I can set the volume. That will be all for all tracks, all of the clips on that track. It'll set the volume the same. I think that's it. I think I've pretty much covered all of that. Okay. Are there any questions? I think the next step that we'll get into is, before we get into editing on it, I do want to show this within the track. Just again, going through definitions. On a track, you have X number of clips. All right. A clip is just a section of a recording. So in this example, there are 3 clips, and you can see the vertical lines here, the black lines says that's the boundary to each clip. So if you start and stop your recording, when you stop it, that's the end of your clip. If you start it again and record again, you are not adding to the first clip, you are creating a second one, right? And so those clips then become each one editable. And they all have boundaries. These are called boundaries. This is the end of audio clip 1.1 and the beginning of audio clip 1.2. You can see their names up here. And also when you're working you want to work on a particular clip, you would click on the title bar and it would highlight just like this example here. And that says you are selecting this entire clip to work on. All right, just some stuff, pretty basic stuff, I think. But if you haven't worked on Audacity, this is important stuff to know.
Hey, Steve, I have a question. I hope I don't move you back too far.
No, go ahead.
Rosemary, hi.
Hi.
So I think what happened with me was I had updated Audacity.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, when I'm recording, I can't hear myself if I can't hear myself record. I have to turn the volume down, record, and then go back and listen where it wasn't a problem before. And we might have to talk about this offline. It might be more complicated than I think.
Okay. Yeah, and we can certainly do that. I just want to make sure I understand when you're recording,
Right.
right? You're going to hear yourself talking just normally. You won't
Well,
hear
if I
Audacity.
do that, it kind of it reverberates somehow, and it doesn't allow me to record because it echoes everything. Whereas
Oh, it has an
before
echoing.
before I updated Audacity, it was fine. But once I update, it just changed the preferences somehow. So when I'm
Okay.
recording, I can hear myself echoing, which drives me nuts. And
Oh, the echo.
I just have to I turn it off, and I just record, and then I go back and listen. But I can't hear myself when I'm recording, which is really kind of crazy.
Yeah, when you're recording, you don't know, right? It's just gonna, it's a one-way transaction, right? You are talking into the microphone and it's recording. You don't know until you do a playback.
So do other people hear themselves when they're recording? Because I think I used to be able to hear myself record before.
No, when you're recording, it shouldn't be playing back to you.
Okay.
Because if it is, then your microphone is recording you twice. It's recording
Okay.
your voice going into it, and then your computer playing it back to you, and you don't want that.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be playing anything when you are in record mode. It should be, consider that like the computer is now in listening mode. It is now listening to you talk, right?
All right. So when I record, I'm supposed to record, and I'm not hearing myself record
That's right.
with my headphones. Okay.
Um, if
I,
you had, yeah, if you have
Well, that's
head,
odd because
yeah.
I can.
Yeah. I'm sorry. If you have headphones on, sorry, that's a good point. If you have, I don't use headphones. If you have headphones, you
Oh,
should, you can be able to hear yourselves on
yeah.
if
Because
you
I
have
used
the right
to, and
output
now I
setting.
can't hear myself anymore.
yeah, I would say it's kind of to think of that as like monitoring, and really
Yeah.
you can hear yourself from your headphone, from your microphone on headphones. It's almost independent of what their computer is actually recording.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's not really Audacity that's playing it to you. It's your microphone and your headphones and your whatever software you're using. So you'd have to kind of look specific at that
Okay.
specifics. Yeah.
All
But
right.
in general, Audacity doesn't give you live monitoring as you're recording. The
Okay.
exception is if your microphone does.
Okay.
Does that
All
make
right. Thank
sense?
you. Thanks. Yes, it does. Thanks.
All right, let's go and play here. I did a recording. I think I did something similar to this on the first time. If I just drag it all here and just play it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee bar for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Let's get started. All right, so woohoo. Also, just to let you know, I do this a lot. I hold my control key down and I have a mouse with a scroll bar on it. And if I hold my control key down and scroll my mouse wheel forward, I zoom in. And if I just scroll the other way on my mouse, I scroll out. I do this constantly. I'm going to do this a lot in our discussions. And so if you're not sure what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. By holding my control key down, right on the Microsoft panel, right? Then my mouse, I scroll and I can zoom in and out. Okay. So I thought what I did last time, I think it's kind of fun. There's all kinds of ways to do this. If I say, okay, I'm done. Let's get started. And I have a lot of this gap here, right? There's several ways I can delete something, right? I can delete something by just highlighting the part that I don't want and hitting delete, and it is gone. Okay. I'm going to hit Control Z just so I can go back. By the way, if you hit up, I'm doing the same thing as if I came up here and did undo. The Control Z, it undoes what I just did. So if you do a flub and you didn't mean to do the flub, undo is your friend. And you can undo has a memory too. You can undo for as long as it can remember. And I might as well, I can come here and do history, right? And here in the history, I have a list of things that I did. I can jump back all the way back here to added label and it'll take me back to when I had a label. So just FYI. So anyway, back to this. I can highlight this to delete it. I can also take these ends. Notice how my mouse changes when I move it up to the top right hand of the clip. It is now a backward C with the arrows pointing. I can now drag that right inward, and I'm essentially trimming it. I can do that. I can go as far as I want to go, and that's where I'm going to stop. So if I want to just end it there with that trailing silence and get rid of that, or if I want to say, I don't like the way I said that, I can go all the way here into this gap. And by the way, the part where the waveform here is flat, that means there's no talking. So that tells me when I zoom in a little bit, that's a good place to decide where I want to edit. If I want to cut something out, that's where I want to be, discern where it is. Generally at the end of a sentence or at a place where I'm not continuing on the same thought. But there's this. Also, it's not just at the end of the clip. I can do it here too on this side of the clip. I can do that same grab spot and drag it forward here. All right. So a lot of times, if you, let's say you're talking and like for me, I do a lot of sight reading. I mean, I'm almost exclusive sight reading. There's a lot of times where I'll flub it up and I go, oh man, stop. So I can just take that and just highlight this, highlight it and say, okay, hit the delete button and I've deleted there. And that's where I'm going to start again. Now, where I put my mouse here, when you see that line, that yellow line tells me that's where my cursor is, which is right up against the clip that's there. So when I start recording, there's no gap between it. There's no just blank space between it. Okay. What I do a lot of times for me, is I do this a lot. And this is just my preference. What I'm showing you is just how Steve does it. It doesn't necessarily, everything I've shown you so far are options that you can choose to do, whichever way is the right way. I do a lot of split clip. So I move my mouse here and I decide where I want to keep it. And then I just do split clip and automatically where my cursor was, now my one clip is now two clips. Right? And that's kind of important if, in this case, like if I play this back again. Hey, August 20th, 2025. Let's get started. It sure would have been nice for me to say my name and introduce myself, right? So if I come back over here and just record and say, I'm Stephen Grimm, right? Oh, I put it down here. Okay. Sorry, I have multiple audio tracks up here, so it never wants to do the one I want. So in this case, I'm going to slide this one back, right? And I'm going to grab the clip at the top by the title bar, and I'm just say cut. I'm going to move my mouse there where the yellow is. I'm going to say paste, right? And it's now there. And you'll see this clip now jumped a proportional amount to the right where this is. If you remember from the first part, I have it automatically where everything jumps. If I delete this clip, automatically this will suck in the space, right? For whatever space that I delete, this will move to the left. That's great when I'm trying to delete a clip and I don't want to have a gap or a blank now between the clips. It'll automatically close the gap. So it also does the opposite. When I add a clip, it pushes this out. But then I can just drag it together. And now it's 2025. I'm Stephen Grimm. Let's get started. Okay. Woo-hoo. 2025. So that's one, I do that a lot, especially if I realize I've been reading a while and I realize there's a clip in here that I don't really like the way I read it, but I might not want to throw everything away and start all over again. I do this a lot. I'm going to take a moment and see if you guys have any questions.
Where was that selection again? The split clip option?
What's that?
Where was the split clip option again?
It's a right click. So if let's say I'm here and I want to go right here where this gap is, I click right there where now you see where I clicked, now I have a vertical line where I'm at. Well, that's where my cursor is.
Okay.
Then I do a right click right there and you'll see split clip.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And that's really the gist of most of this. Most of the time that I'm cutting and I'm editing, it's a bunch of that. In fact, I think I have If I go back, here's a Journal World recording that I do. Right. I have all these different clips in here. Each one of these, here's one through, I don't know how many clips I have. I usually have about 45 to 55 clips, individual clips for an hour long process, right? Because I'll read for a while and I don't like the way I read it, or like I say, since I sight read, I'll sometimes I miss the wrong syllable or whatever, the wrong emphasis, or I just simply flub it up.
Steve, can I
So
ask a quick question? Just because I noticed that in this example, it's in mono, and in the other, it was in stereo. And we usually have folks send it in, and we ask folks to send it in mono, just because it makes it so much smaller for us to, transmit it. At least that's my understanding of the why. Um, but I just wanted to highlight that for folks because I do think in some senses it looks a little bit more like what they're used to seeing when it's just in that mono. I could be wrong.
yeah,
I'm throwing that out just from a visual perspective.
that's a good point. That's a good point. And actually, I record in stereo as well. I think this was an adjustment one that I did. I should probably pull up a different one that I did, but sorry about that.
No,
But
we want
I
it in
generally record
mono
in
for when
stereo.
they send it in. So I think probably most folks have it set to do mono for their recording. So that mono probably looks more familiar to what they're used to seeing.
Okay. All right. Here is the stereo, right? Just as I mentioned, I have up here, up at the top, you have two waveforms up here at the top and the bottom, and they are absolutely identical, right? Separated by this vertical line here. One shows one channel, the other shows the other channel, right? In this case, it's all one channel, and it is just solo, right? Or it's just mono. Um, and when you do that, if I go and create a track, I can go add new, here's a mono track,
Perfect. And I
right?
do see Michael has his hand up as well.
Oh, Michael. Yeah.
Thank you. I need to spend about 2 days with you, Steve, to get all this figured out.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
There you go. Have one-on-one sessions.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I had a question though. You mentioned something about, was it sight read? Is that what you called that? The read you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
How is that different, or what is that?
I don't read ahead.
Okay.
I just read.
Okay.
So
I
I
got you.
don't when I open up the Journal World, I take a quick glance and what I'm going to read, do a little bit of planning, but generally when I say, okay, I'm ready to start this article, off I go. So I don't, as I'm reading the sentence and you're hearing it for the first, hearing it as a listener, you're essentially hearing it as Steve's reading it for the first time too.
Okay. That's exactly how I do the breakfast table times. It's same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that approach. It feels more natural, feels more, okay, I'll flub something up, I'll go back in, redo it, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Same way. And that's the beauty of having a studio here is, you don't have the pressure of, uh, of getting it perfect right off the bat. Yeah. Any other questions? As far as editing, that's the gist of it, right? Most of the times we're going to be doing, if I mess up, a lot of times I'm just going to stop and delete what I just recorded. And like I say, the split clip is good. If I again, if I don't want to do the whole clip that I did, it was just this last part that I messed up. That's where split clip comes in because I can now create the bad part its own clip and delete that and keep the good stuff, right? I use that a ton. But there's not a lot of magic or anything to it. That's most of it. What other editing questions do you guys have from a track or a clip perspective? What are the things that you're doing that maybe you're not sure about, or you wish you could do it? Maybe there was an easier way to do it, or maybe there isn't, but you're wondering. Is there anything out there that you guys run into in your normal recordings, your typical recordings that we want to talk about that I haven't yet?
I haven't done it enough to have questions. Sorry. I just have to start stumbling through it.
Sure.
I'll go, Trish.
Well,
The cool thing about Audacity is you can just record, you can just record and play and just open up a project and just, read a book or just start yammering on and just pretend. You can't hurt anything that way, right? You start over, do it all again. That's the best way to learn. Absolutely best way to learn.
Steve, there are four edits I usually do before I mark it and send it off, and that
Mhm.
is loudness normalization, limiter, um, and then I'll do click removal. I don't know if that does anything, but I'll do click removal, and then I'll do what is it, noise reduction. Is there a certain order those should be done, or I mean,
Mm.
we got the settings, and usually Audacity will remember the settings from whenever you did it before. But I just didn't know if there was an order that makes better sense for when you do those.
Yeah, so what Michael's talking about are some effects, right, that he puts on the track to manage um, sound or clicks and this, right, some of the hissing sounds and things like that. Um, that one's a harder one to say. So this is more of the advanced stuff, actually, Michael, from what you're asking there. I don't
Oh,
know
well
that.
then never mind. I'm
No,
an
no, it's all right.
advanced
It's all
kind of
right.
guy, I guess.
I would say for from effect standpoint. And so, for example, here, right, if I click effects here, I can add an effect, right? And I can if I need more bass or more treble in my voice or the microphone sounds tinny or not, I can always click here and I can add some more bass, right? And by doing it over here, actually I did it on the wrong place. Don't do it there because I don't want to do it there. Here in the oh that's sorry, that's I did that. Sorry. Adding more bass, um, I'm affecting this whole track, right? For the whole thing. So if my microphone is generally tinny, so what Michael's talking about is I can have other effects too that I can do here, either compression or limiting that, or other noise removals and repairs, right? All of these things to help remove some of the noises that you have. I think, Michael, for our purposes, for where we're at here, probably that would be more of the advanced stuff
Okay.
that we would talk about that. I'd be happy to walk through that with you. I don't
No,
know that.
I
Yeah.
think that was something Nick went through when I first started was, hey, when you before you send the recording out, make sure you do these things and the limiter and all that other stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's fine.
It depends on your microphone whether you need it all or not. I don't generally put much of any of that on there for what I don't
Wow.
put any effects on my mic at all. The volume, sure, I can adjust my volume here a little bit or back, right? But other than that, and I might do I don't do it much anymore, but I can also sometimes I will set a little bit more bass on it, all right, for my voice, for it, and I can actually make it a preset. I can do a say I or I even have a light and grim, right, which actually sets it the other way. I bring up the treble a little bit. That was my old microphone. I don't have it anymore, but you can actually set a preset, so save it that way, so that's the same thing over and over again. But I would say the order in which was your question. I would say it's hard to say a best order. You generally want to get rid of the general stuff before you start going with the specific edits. Um, Actually, I said that backwards. You want to do the specific edits first and then do the general edits. Um, but it depends. It just depends on what the sound is
Yep.
that you're collecting. It's a hard thing to say just as a general rule.
Okay. Thanks.
Anything else?
I thank you, Steve, for kind of touching on that as well as Michael. I just want to throw out that we do appreciate the folks that we have the gamut, right? Some folks really can get into that nitty gritty and enjoy that piece of it, but a lot of our folks, are going to do sort of the just right at our standard. And then the wonder of having Nick and Colin around is that they are the ones that also can really tidy things up as needed. But the mic use and our setting of our environment make a huge difference. And
Yeah.
those things allow us to have a nice, clean recording. And of course, all of our folks with their wonderful reading skills too. So anyway, I just throw that out there. Thank you for acknowledging both sides of that coin.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're just starting out, I don't, like I say, I don't really use too many effects at all. With what I'm doing, as what Michael talks about of adding effects to the recorded piece. Um, can I do that to fine tune it even more? Sure. But most of the time, as it gets to Nick, then it's taken care of already. So I don't have to worry about it.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to stop being an overachiever and not doing those things.
Maybe it depends on Michael. If your microphone has a lot of hiss, I would say if that's the case, if your microphone has a lot of that clicking or popping and hissing, I would recommend you get a different microphone eventually,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Then put the effects on it. But I get it. It's in the meantime, that may be your right answer for now, right?
Yeah. Well, I've got an AT 2020, so it's a pretty good condenser microphone, but I feel it's almost too sensitive. It's picking things up, and maybe that goes back to what Trish was saying, is getting the environment correct so
Yep.
that you're not picking up all that extraneous noise. So, okay.
And I think Byron had a couple of comments too. Byron,
Yeah.
did you want to add those?
Oh, I just wrote in the comments that yes, there is an order to what's called the mastering chain, in which you need to, like, number one, edit out clicks, pops, and make corrections. Then you equalize, then you compress, and then you limit. But I love editing. So, like he said,
You're on the other end of that
if
coin,
you're
right,
not really
Byron?
into editing, and oh, but additionally, there's something called an ACX check that you can
Yeah.
download to Audacity that will help you get consistent recordings. Because with me, I'm pulling articles from different magazines and newspapers, and I'm not recording it all at once. So if I want a consistent sound, this ACX check will check your overall recording levels, your peak levels, and also any noise, and at the standard that is used for uh, audiobooks for Audacity. And that will, so if you do it in bits and pieces like I do, then what I record on Monday will sound just like it does on Thursday. And but so that's something else to consider if you really want to get into the editing uh, of uh, of your productions.
Cool. I was not aware of that.
Thank you, Byron. And hey, Steve,
Yeah,
I have another
that add-on.
question to throw out. I don't mean to cut off but I do want to, whenever we're ready, have another question from Steve.
Well,
Go ahead, Steve.
can I jump in for a sec? Just
Yes,
on the
please, Nick.
compression piece, I would urge a little caution with compression, and especially Michael, if generally what compression does is it makes the loud less quiet and it makes the quiet loud. So if you're finding that there's a lot of extra noise, so if you're not in an ideal situation, compression can actually add unwanted noise to your file. And the other piece that we have to be aware of is that we have a lot of processes after even I touch it. It goes. There's digital compression with where the files go. There's compression on the audio broadcast. So there are some processes that already have compression. So compression is cool. I would use it cautiously.
Great point.
And I think I'm pretty familiar with both Michael and Byron, and I'm not sure I'm hearing a whole lot of the negative side of compression, but what I would say as well is it's not as essential as having a good sounding room, and I think that's going to be my answer for a lot of things. And it won't fix it, and it might make an okay sounding room worse, actually. So there's a little bit of caution with that. The other thing is that we look at all of these files. So the main reason to compress would be to get that audio consistency that Byron was talking about. And we check that. So that is part of our process after the fact. So I think,
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys did a lot of, I thought you just, okay, ship it.
Well, if it
Catch it
doesn't,
and ship it.
well, and I do think there's, some of you guys work at the weekend, which actually, so it doesn't happen at the weekend. I know you do, Michael. I know you do, Steve. So that's why advanced, we're dealing with a lot of different levels here. But what I would not like to see is everybody just slap a compressor onto things. It's part of the reason pop music is not as good as it was 50 years ago too. It's a problem in audio production, and especially with the human voice. A good, clean, low level audio recording is fine, is great. You're not trying to compete with Joe Rogan or whatever on the podcast front. The bigger thing for us is that it's clean and we can work with it, and And overcompression is actually, it's hard to listen to. It makes the ears kind of tired after a while, especially with a voice, because everything is all like right in your ear, it feels like. So I love everyone trying to do a bit more and improve and advance your skills. So I don't want to discourage, but there is a bit of caution with compression.
Yeah, I echo that. I think of compression a lot like, hey, I can compress a picture, right? And as I compress it, it loses information as well, right? It's not as clean. And ultimately, it's not as crisp no matter what you do. You are modifying the spoken voice to a degree, right, of what that is, or whatever it is that you're recording. Just like you are compressing a full size raw file if you're photography, right, with as megabytes of information down to 12K of space, you're going to lose something, right? It's the same thing with audio. You're going to lose something. And it might sound, you take up the highs and lows, you might catch that, but it will never sound as full as if it were an unaffected that way. All right. We've got 10 minutes left, 9 minutes left. The audio thing or the music with this, right? I want to spend a little bit of time on that because this is a lot of fun. And so I want to talk about that real quick. If you haven't added music to your recording, but you're interested in doing that, then the answer is cool. But make sure that you're thoughtful in this. By simply adding music for the sake of music, you could actually make it much worse by distracting and detracting from your reading and from the listeners from hearing it. So let's make sure that when you're using music that we're using it the right way. And so with that, I want to quickly say real quick, where do I get music? And there's all different kinds of places. There's different kinds of things. A lot of the places out there, I got to pay royalties for, which is essentially I'm paying the artist every time I play it. And for most of us, we don't have that kind of bankroll. But there are places that you can get free and public domain stuff that you can do. YouTube itself, and I'll show that here in a demo. It has page after page after page of music that you can use. They don't care. You can use it. In fact, they built it specifically for all the YouTubers out there to add music to their videos. And it's just free stuff. You don't care. Upbeat is another good one. You can do a non-membership. You can buy a song or a little clip or something for $1 or $2 or so. But you can also, as a free gift, be a non-paying member. You can download three clips, 3 songs, 3 whatever per month for free, right? So you build up a library of your own. There's all kinds of other places to look for of finding music. And if you really want some insights to it, I'll be happy to set aside that. But I would say this, if you want to use music, you want to think of it as background music. It is there to enhance your mood and enhance your voice, not replace it, and certainly not overstage it. And so that's really important when you're picking out music. Also, you want to have the right music to catch the mood that you're trying to set. And for the right kind of ways that you use it. Generally, for our purposes, the best where I use music a lot, if I'll go back to my normal recording here, I use it as bumper music and an intro music, right? So here in the journal world, I have an intro here at the beginning. I'll just record it a little bit, and then this is kind of a music that'll get me started into the articles. So I'll go back here a little bit and I'll go.
High of 96 and a low of 75. Now, on to the news. We'll start here on the front page with our spotlight story.
So just as a nice little trilly thing to get people to go, oh, cool, things are starting. It's a nice little, and then I also do it in between the articles as well. I have a different sound that I do as a transition. And I think I heard a few years ago that somebody made a comment that as a listener, they liked it because that's their cue of when they know to go to the next article. So at the end of this one, I also have this sound.
It is suing the Trump administration over the change. Next is a staff report that runs along.
Right. So it's just this is probably the typical way that music would be used here, for our purposes. Just a little bumper music, and an intro and outro music is a really kind of good piece. And for me, I have music there. If I go all the way here to the sports page, for example, I just have a different mood. So
Scratching to be competitive and to fuel their programs.
right. So it's just a different music to set the tone. That's my sports sound, right? I'm in sports now, so let's do that. So you kind of have some fun with it, right? So part of the challenge here is, okay, how do you do this? So I thought I'd go back to this example real quick, and let's say I added a couple of bumpers here. I'm going to get rid of this for a second, right? Some bumper songs. If I just play this, for example, I'm going to unmute this one. I don't know where I downloaded this and got it. So there you go. So it's just a nice little stinger clip. Oh, sorry, I didn't go all the way back. Right, it's just a few seconds. This is no more than really for the bump of this, about 4 seconds. You don't want to go too much longer unless your mood calls for it. But so if I were to just put this on top of it, right, and then play it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee
That's
bar.
not very good, is it? Because the music and the voice are muddled all together, and it doesn't really sound all that good. In fact, I had this down low. I don't know why I had that. If I had it down to the normal sound, it'd be like this, I guess.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee
In this
bar.
case, the sound is the bumper is, drowning me out. And generally, you'd want to have, let's see, maybe the thing to do is I highlight all the clips that I want to do, for example, in this case, and I just drag them all together. I'm going to move them roughly here visually. I'm seeing this is roughly when that ping hits, right? So maybe I time it there, and I can start back here at the beginning and play it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Readers.
I got waited too long, so maybe I drag it a little bit further this way after that hit. Maybe this is about right. I didn't want to, after that last bong, I didn't want to wait too long. So let's try it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual.
Right, maybe. And maybe I could, maybe for the audio, it's still a little bit, even at the very end, it's still competing with my voice. I might bring this volume down just a little bit. Right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee bar.
You can do different moods too. Here's another one that gets you started. It's about the same place. I better mute that one. Right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's.
Nice little trill to get things started along the way. So the real trick is, and what I do is I'll go out to those websites and whatever, and I will just troll it. I'll sit and what music sounds good? What do I like? What's a possibility? And I just create a library, a folder on my desktop or on my computer with different sounds and different songs. And I put in sometimes I'll orchestrate them to say, ooh, this is calm, or this is introspective, or this was upbeat and fun, or this is kind of rock based or something. So I know the kind of music. And then you'll see here, I also in the song too, I put for how long it runs, right? So it gives me an idea of what do I need? How long do I need the music? So it gives me an idea of what kind of music. I also want to show you here, I'm running out of time. So I'm almost out of time. Dang it. If I go to this side and I go to Google for a second, and I log in to YouTube, right? And if I click on my account little icon here on the top right and go down, you can see YouTube Studio. And if I click on that, this is where, if you're a YouTuber and you're recording videos and you're uploading videos, then this is kind of your studio. But you'll see down here on the far left column, audio library. So when I said, here's all these songs, page after page after page, there's 902 pages of different songs and music. All of these are free. Okay. And they try to put, hey, what kind of mood is it? Kind of what's the genre? How long is it? License type. Most of these, like I say, it says you can use this audio track in any of your videos, including videos you monetize. I have not seen that they say you can only use it for YouTube. They've never said that. So you can use it for any purpose. Is what I've done anyway. So here's, for example, I'll use, let's see here. What would be a fun one? I had one here. Well, we're almost out of time. I'll just say here, I'll take Pulsar because that's I starred one, right? I think I have got, do I have Genesis in here? Oh, here's Gemini. Gemini is kind of fun. I'll go back and do, this will be an easier one to do. So Pulsar, if I play that, that's kind of a nice little background sound, right? So what I can do is I can come over here, click download, and now it is downloaded to my computer, right? Let me get this out of the way here for a second. Now, when I bring up Audio Reader, right, I can open that up one of two ways. I can go to File and do Open, or I can just take it from wherever I have it and just drag it onto Audacity, and it will open it and create its own track and put it there at the beginning of it, right? So now when I play it, I'm going to make sure I mute everything else here, right? Right? That's exactly where I have it. Right? So that's one way. YouTube is really good for that. So now if I wanted to edit this a little bit, let's see if I can do this real quick with the time left. And I know we're a little bit over. If I then zoom back in to this, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee bar for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. I'm Stephen Grimm. Let's get started.
So in this case, it's not really a bumper at the beginning and then ends and then my voice takes over. This is kind of a fun little sound from behind, right? So my voice is over. Now the problem is for this song, right? I like the way that it fades in naturally. But as it goes, as I'm talking, this gets louder and louder to the point where it competes with my voice. So I will show you this trick. For the audio here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit further, right? And so what I will do is say, okay, I really want it to fade out just a little bit after my voice. In fact, I'm going to clip this up a little bit tighter so I have a general idea of where I want it to end. And let's say I really want it to fade out right about not long after I'm done with the speaking, right? So what I can do, I'm going to start my fade out there and I'm going to say I'm going to go to about here and I want it to fade out gradually from where I drag to where I end. Then I can go up to Effect, Fading, and Fade Out. And automatically what that does is it will automatically, for the distance that I described here in highlight, I just told Audio Reader that, hey, starting where I highlighted to the end of my highlight, I want you to gradually fade out that music. Okay? And so let's listen to that now. Hold on. Oh, I have it up there.
25.
I'm Stephen Grimm. That's still a little loud. Let me drag this down a little bit so it's not competing.
2025. I'm Stephen Grimm. Let's get started.
All right. Now you'll see here, this is where split clip comes back into play. I'll find that spot right there, do a right click, do split clip. I'll get rid of this stuff, right? Oops. Highlight that, delete it, hit the delete button, and now I have this intro, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Audio Reader's virtual coffee bar for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. I'm Stephen Grimm. Let's get started.
And then it has a nice little fade out. I can also do the fade in, right? to this and do the fade in, but this has a natural fade in. I'm well over time, so I better stop. But I hope you guys have an idea. If you want to play around with this, I highly recommend you do it. There's all kinds of ways to do it and play around with it. But I hope you get an idea about using some music for this. I don't know that we did that really fast, but I'll be happy to do another creative session with you if you like. Just let me know.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
I know
Thank you,
everyone
Steve.
appreciates all the effort to put into this to bring it to folks. And it is so much information, and there is so much that folks can do. So again, we appreciate the gamut of that folks can be on one end of the basic getting the standards met, and on the other end of making it creative and a little fun too. So thank you. And we will send out, hopefully, I will ask Steve if I can get an update of the slides, and I can send those out to folks. I'll also send out a recording. And if folks do have questions, Steve has been kind enough to offer to work with folks specifically on if you have a question that's coming up just for you, and we'd be glad to connect you guys too as well. So yeah. I'm so glad that we kind of just jumped right in, because there's always so much information to share. Anybody have any other parting words that they'd like to throw out? If not, folks are singing your praises and saying thanks in the chat.
I just have a quick question.
Go ahead, Lori.
For you, Nick or Steve, would you recommend then if I were to do this, I do Christian Science Monitor, if I were to do that, and there are different sections, would you find some and then just stick with them? So like it is an auditory cue to them that, oh, now we're going to go to the cover story or whatever. Is that what you would recommend? So you didn't have to choose new music every week, just kind of get some that you eventually.
Yeah, the bumper music that you heard there when I played the Lawrence Journal World, I have used that same exact setup for how long? How many years now?
Okay.
Right. So it's the same thing, right? So the
that sounds way
creativity
more
was
doable to get
yeah.
there.
So it's not
then
really creative
kinda...
anymore in that way, right? The creativity was done early, and now it's just a repeat. But it does sound better, even though I'm not really being creative on it anymore. And I think it is important to be consistent in if you have an ongoing program, be consistent with your music. Otherwise, yeah, you could, again, they like to be comfortable as they listen. And if something surprises them, that's never a good thing, right?
I think I would just add, and I'm glad you saw Steve a few times, you saying that's too loud. That's good. I think that's a good thing.
Never compete. Never let the music compete with your voice. Never, ever.
Yeah, and the same compression again will also squash that, and then the music gets squashed, and the voice all gets squashed. And then I don't know, if you're interested to try any of this, obviously let us know, and we'll try it out. We'll work together. We'll have a listen and tweak as we go. But yes, kind of introducing it subtly and carefully is the way to go. But yeah, I like the idea.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everyone. And again, I appreciate everybody's time. I will throw out there that we do have, the next one is in September, and we're going to do a bit on audio description. So that'll be, I think it's the 17th of September, but it's the third Wednesday. So please join us for that. I know at least we have Lori is one of our audio describers. I don't think anybody else on here is, but it's a really fun conversation. We just want to share some information about what we do and potential if folks are interested in learning more about it. And then I would also say that we have our big sale coming up for those of you that are around town. It's September 13th down at the library. So just a few shout outs there. Anything else, Nick? Nope. Okay. Okay, everybody.
I think Kathy needs to hold it down a little bit.
Oh.
Hey, Linda.
Hi.
Kathy and I have been having fun in here, so.
I can tell you too, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing this.
Of course. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again, Steve. And again, thank you for all you do for our listeners. Truly, your voices make connections every day, and we so appreciate it. That is the thing. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, time to